Good afternoon, students. Welcome back to the online learning platform at Department of Civil Engineering. So we are back with the course Municipal Wastewater Engineering, also popularly called as Public Health Engineering or Environmental Engineering. If you recollect, in the previous semester, you had Water Supply and Treatment Engineering. So these are the course outcomes for this course, which has been redefined and re-prepared by us. So in the previous session, if you recollect, we had discussed about the types of sewerage systems. We had basically two types: conservancy system, which is redundant, obsolete, and outdated. And then we had the modern, that is the water carriage system. So in the water carriage system, if you remember, there were three types: the separate system, the combined system, and the partially separate system. So in the last class, you had understood the concepts, the merits and demerits and suitability with respect to these systems. In today's class, we'll continue further and we'll try to understand the concept of dry weather flow, wet weather flow, what are the factors which influence these, okay, and also what is the necessity for studying these concepts. Towards the end, I'll be summarizing the presentation and citing the references for your kind perusal. So let's start with dry weather flow. Okay, now in simple words, when I say dry weather flow, we are referring to the transportation of only the sanitary sewage. Okay, now when I say sanitary sewage, this could be the sewage which is coming from the domestic areas or from the industrial areas. Okay, now when I say dry weather flow, we are talking about summer where there is no probable rainfall or precipitation. So your sewerage system, which can be combined, which can be separate, which can be partially separate, the only thing that they will be carrying in the conduits is the sanitary sewage. All right. Now, what we need to understand here is, since the sewage that is being transported contains impurities and solids, it is most probable that if in case there is no additional external impetus, that is, since you're not having storm runoff, since you're not having rainwater, okay, obviously the volume or quantity of sewage or the wastewater which is flowing is very less, and as a resultant outcome, as a consequence, it is most probable that the retention time may increase and there would be silting of impurities. So when subsequently silting increases, there are more probable chances that your sewers can get clogged. Okay. Now, what all is encompassed in your dry weather flow? Firstly, the sanitary waste which comes from your houses, commercial establishments, industrial establishments. Okay, what is happening to them? They are being transported in sewer lines, and from sewer lines it reaches the wastewater treatment plant, and from the wastewater treatment plant, after treatment, it is disposed of. So this is your dry weather flow. Now, what are the basic factors which influences your dry weather flow? Now, as I've listed for you, the different factors are demand, that is the rate of water supply. Secondly, the population which is being served. Thirdly, the land use or type of area which is being served to. Nextly, the concept of infiltration of groundwater. Further, the concept of exfiltration of sewage. I'll explain these aspects to you one by one. Now, we are basically talking about wastewater, correct? So how is wastewater generated? As we discussed in the previous session, the wastewater is generated from your houses. It can be gray water, it can be black water. Okay, so it is a wastewater which is generated from your kitchen, from your dishwashers, from your lavatories, from your washrooms, okay, and so forth. And why is this so? Because you are consuming water. So when you consume water, you tend to produce wastewater, and most importantly, in the system, water is being used to carry the waste. Okay, if you recollect, I had told you that 99.9% of your wastewater is water itself. It is the remaining 0.1% which is the waste or the solid content. So how much wastewater is generated depends on how much of water is consumed. So you are aware that in the previous semester we had spoken about per capita demand, that is how many liters is consumed by one individual in one day. Okay, and we are also aware that there are various kind of demands: residential demand, okay, or you call, sorry, the domestic demand, okay, the industrial demand, the institutional demand. Okay, so depending on the type of demands, your rate of water supply is also influenced. Yes, there is no doubt that as a thumb rule, we would consider that the quantity of wastewater which is generated would be about 80% of the quantity of the water which is supplied. Now, this is considering the fact that you might have losses due to evaporation, or firefighting, or lawn sprinkling and so forth. But at the same time, it is most probable that there is additional water which is joining because of private wells. Okay, so eventually we can say as an assumption that whatever water is being supplied, most probably the same quantum of wastewater is being generated. Nevertheless, when you speak about the design aspect, the sewer lines have to be designed for at least a carrying capacity of minimum of 150 liters per capita per day. Okay, so the next most critical factor which influences your dry weather flow is the population. Obviously, when the population increases, the quantity of water consumed increases and the quantity of wastewater produced increases. Now, what decides the population aspect? Your demography basically depends on the developments that is currently taking place in the village or the town or the city, and what is the probable development which is envisioned in the future years. Okay, therefore your sewer system is also going to be encompassed with respect to the design period. Now, if you recollect, in the last semester, we had studied the concept of how to forecast population, like arithmetic increase, geometric increase, incremental increase, graphical method, ratio correlation method. So of course all these methods had its merits and demerits, and as you know, it was application specific. So population is also very important, which decides the uh, how it alters the dry weather flow. Now, moving forward, what kind of locality are we talking about? Is it a residential area, industrial area, commercial area? Now, even if you're talking about a commercial belt or industrial belt, how commercialized is it? Okay, are you talking about dry industries or wet industries? Now, eventually when it comes to this, okay, so the quantity of wastewater which is generated has to be precisely uh, arrived at by carrying out a survey. Let us say you're talking about industries, then you need to carry out a systematic industrial wastewater survey. Okay, in fact, even your industries also have different sources of point of generation of wastewater, and that can be sanitary or it can be industrial. Now, please note that the wastewater treatment plant in this context is the sanitary sewage. So the industrial effluent or the wastewater which is coming from the industries have to be separately treated. Of course, there are further versions wherein you can have a joint treatment, but that is beyond the scope of today's discussion. Okay, apart from these three primary factors, that is rate of water supply, demography, and the type of area served, apart from these three factors, there are two critical factors which influences dry weather flow. And the interesting aspect is both these factors, that is infiltration of groundwater and exfiltration of sewage, they can happen concurrently. Okay, and it all is due to the fluctuation in the groundwater level. So what is basically infiltration of groundwater? It is a situation wherein the groundwater, okay, that is your subsurface flow or your water table, probably the water from that is entering into your sewer lines. And how is it entering? probably, the head of your groundwater is greater than your sewer lines. Yes, it is most probable that there is a crack in your sewer lines, or it's broken, or probably the joints are not very tight. Okay, there are leaks possible, or it is defective. Okay, eventually what is going to happen in a dry weather flow, which is supposed to carry only the domestic sewage or sanitary sewage, when the rainwater also enters, it is no more dry weather flow, it becomes wet weather flow. Okay, so this situation leads to shock loads. The wastewater treatment plant is designed for dry weather flow. So when more quantity of wastewater arrives, okay, it eventually is a shock load. The units, the operations, and the processes are not designed for that, and that will eventually impair the systems and disrupt all proceedings. Okay, now if you please look at the image on this slide, the second image on your right hand side bottom. Okay, that's an example or a depiction of infiltration of groundwater into a sewer line. All right, now let's look at the next image, which is actually on the top of it. Now this is basically exfiltration of sewage. So this is a situation, again, probably due to a higher head of sewer line when compared to your water table. Okay, or again you have cracks, your leaks, you have got joints which are defective. Okay, what is going to happen is the sewage which is flowing in these pipelines, okay, they are gonna leak. They're going to get mixed up with the groundwater, that's a water table or subsurface flow, or they may leak into the soil. So now all these three are undesirable situations, because we are talking about pollution, groundwater pollution and soil pollution, which can further complicate things and probably cause diseases or epidemics and so forth. So how can we correct or prevent this? Now there are several design factors to be considered. Yes, all of these design factors will be specifically explained to you in the subsequent class, but the most important aspect is we need to understand, okay, what is the population that you're catering to? What is the type of soil in which you're laying the sewer line? Okay, what is the type of sewer material that you are using? See, everything has pros and cons. So when we discuss all of these in detail, you will be able to arrive at, okay, the best probable preventive measure and corrective measure. Okay, now let's move on to wet weather flow. So if you remember, I had told you that during a summer season, a dry weather flow is basically only the sanitary sewage which is going. Okay, so wet weather flow, which is also called as storm water flow. Okay, now it is basically a situation wherein the sewer line carries not just the domestic sewage, but it also carries storm runoff. It carries urban runoff. That is basically it carries precipitation in the form of rainfall. I believe that in the last session we had spoken about combined system, okay, wherein the single line of sewer carries both sanitary sewage and the storm runoff. Okay, so this is basically what we are referring to. But what we need to understand here is how is that this becomes a wet weather flow? What are the contributories to it? It is the urban runoff, okay, because in areas, in localities, you have got open drains. Okay, now it is also possible that a combined system is in place wherein every runoff and rainwater lands into the same pipeline. Okay, so eventually what is going to happen is the quantity of wastewater which is being received by the treatment plant is very huge. So you are talking about greater volume of wastewater to be transported, to be treated, to be disposed of in a safe manner. Now, if these things are not happening in a designed, efficient, sustainable manner, then what can happen is you might eventually end up with flooding. You might have witnessed, whenever there is extreme torrential rainfall, you might have sometimes seen your manholes overflowing, okay, your sewer lines overflowing, And now that's not desirable, because you're actually talking about mixing of sewage and rainwater, which actually can lead to issues such as epidemics or waterborne diseases. All right. Now, in the case of dry weather flow, where we had a problem of high retention time and siltation, okay, in the context of wet weather flow, it would be the other way. Since there is huge quantity of water which is rushing through with the wastewater, there will be no siltation taking place, and the retention time is very less. The impurities do not remain in a particular a place or a point in the pipeline for long durations. Rather, it is rushing through. Now this, if you do not lay your sewer lines at a proper slope, it can lead to scouring action. All right, that is wherein it erodes the inner surfaces of your sewer lines. Now, in the case of dry weather flow, the erosion takes place due to siltation and subsequent reactions. But in the case of wet weather flow, the erosion takes place due to scouring action. Now, to recap, okay, what is contributing to your wet weather flow? Primarily, the sanitary wastewater, which is coming from houses, commercial establishments, and industrial facilities. I am referring to only the sanitary sewage. Okay, that is your gray water and your black water. Now, apart from this, the second additional contributory is your runoff, okay, which is an outcome of your precipitation. Now, let's move further. So what are the factors which is basically influencing your wet weather flow? I have listed the factors for you. They are self-explanatory. Let's try to understand the relevance of each. Catchment area, that is the portion or the area which is receiving a precipitation. Obviously, if your catchment area is huge, then the quantum of wet weather flow will be large. Ground slope. If in case you have a flat terrain, the chances of your urban runoff or the runoff entering into your sewerage system will be either delayed or less. But if in case if it is sloping, then there will be more runoff entering your sewer lines. Permeability of ground. Now basically we are talking about your natural surfaces. Now please understand, unlike your anthropogenic or man-made surfaces, which are most probably impermeable, most of the natural surfaces allow water to percolate. Okay, however, you need to also understand that all types of soil do not have the same kind of permeability. If it is sand, it allows water to percolate faster, but if it is clay, it will hold the water or absorb the moisture rather. Okay, now, so type of the soil also decides how much of runoff is being generated. Second, the nextly, the extent of impervious area. So if your the receiving area or the catchment area is having more of impervious surfaces, such as the metal surfaces, I'm talking about your bituminous surfaces or your concrete surfaces. Now what is going to happen? These surfaces do not allow water to percolate. Okay, these surfaces do not allow groundwater recharging to take place. These surfaces will allow more of runoff to be generated. So obviously your wet weather flow quantum will be greater. Okay, nextly, the extent of vegetation growth. Friends, it is known that if you have a thick vegetation growth or your plants and trees, okay, they have the tendency to hold water for their own purposes. So having more of greenery will reduce the quantum of wet weather flow which is being generated. Yes, what is the intensity of rainfall? If it is a torrential downpour, you can definitely expect huge quantity of storm runoff to be generated, which contributes to a greater volume of wet weather flow. In the same manner, how long did it rain for? Was it for a short duration or a long duration? That also will decide how much of wet weather flow is being produced. Nextly, now probably in the concept, with the context of hydrology or water resource engineering, what was the condition of ground before rainfall happened? Was it a dry surface? Okay, or was it already saturated with water? Okay, now let's say, for instance, if it had already rained, then there are more of less probabilities, that the soil will, allow percolation to take place. However, let us say if the area has never received rainfall for a long time, then there are more chances of infiltration taking place, percolation taking place, recharging of groundwater taking place. Okay, then probably the quantum of runoff will be lesser. Now, again, when it comes to the corrective and preventive measures of which influences the wet weather flow. Now, this also will be specifically taken in the subsequent classes, but we need to understand that to decide the corrective measure and preventive measures, we need to readdress these factors itself. Now, depending on these factors, then only you can choose the best corrective or preventive measure. Please remember, corrective measures will mandate operational issues, maintenance issues, and the troubleshootings. So preventive measures are always best suited. Okay, now what did we discuss so far? We spoke about dry weather flow. We spoke about wet weather flow. Okay, so in simple words, dry weather flow is only the sanitary sewage which is coming from commercial, industrial, and residential establishments. What is wet weather flow? It is the flow which comprises of both the sanitary sewage and the storm runoff. We have also understood that the quantum of wastewater produced or transported or treated or disposed will be more in the wet weather flow. Also, we have understood the two phenomenons which can happen simultaneously or concurrently depending on the groundwater level or other extraneous factors, that is exfiltration and infiltration. So you know very well now that infiltration is a phenomenon wherein due to certain factors, the subsurface flow or the groundwater enters your sewer lines, while exfiltration is the other way around, wherein again due to certain factors, the sanitary sewage is leaked or leaving the sewer lines and entering the natural ecosystem around it, which could be the groundwater table or the soil, leading to pollution. Okay, so we also have understood what could be the operational issues. For instance, if in case you're talking about dry weather flow, the detention period or retention period is very high, which leads to siltation and choking of the pipelines. If it's a wet weather flow, then the velocity is very high. It can lead to scouring action and again erosion of the pipelines. As you can see the image on the top right hand corner, it is basically the overflowing of your sewer lines from a manhole. Okay, now having said all this, what is the importance or necessity to study dry weather flow and wet weather flow? When we discussed the various factors which is influencing dry weather flow and wet weather flow, we need to understand the primary concept. See, whenever you want to design a section of a sewer, it is very important that you understand how much total quantity of wastewater has to be transported, how much total quantity of your sewage or runoff will be received by the treatment plant. So it is not just the design of the sewer lines, it's also the design of the subsequent wastewater treatment plant. Obviously, why are we designing a sewer line, a sewerage system, a wastewater treatment plant? So that the objectives of a sanitary, a hygienic aspect of your public health engineering is taken care. That is good aesthetics to prevent epidemics and so forth. And if you remember, all the factors which influence dry weather flow and wet weather flow, they play a critical role in design of sewers, which can further influence the decision on types of treatments which is required for a treatment plant. Okay, and the design aspect also. Okay, so friends, I would like to show you a small video to re-emphasize the concept of dry weather flow and wet weather flow. What you see here is dry weather flow. This is only the sanitary sewage flowing. I'll replay for you. This is dry weather flow. Only the sanitary sewage is being transported to the treatment plant where it gets treated and disposed of. Now, what you're seeing here is wet weather flow. Here, the sewer lines are transporting not just your sewage, but also runoff, rainwater. Now, what you're seeing here is extreme wet weather flow, wherein the sewer lines are transporting not just the sanitary sewage, but the output of a torrential downpour. As discussed, now this can apply to all the type of systems of water carriage system. Let's continue. So let's try to recap and understand in a visual manner dry weather flow. So in this image, you can see the various sources from which the sewage is being generated. So basically, it could be your residential areas, all right? Okay, it could be your commercial establishments, it could be your industrial areas. So sanitary sewage is produced from all these entities, okay, and then it is being transported. It goes through the sewer lines, it goes to your treatment plant, okay, and from the treatment plant, after treatment, it is disposed of. This is your dry weather flow. Now let's look at wet weather flow. So same area, same location. Now the sewer lines are receiving not just the sanitary sewage from the houses, shops and industries, but it is also receiving rainwater. Rainwater which is entering the system through urban drains or direct percolation. Okay, finally into a system which transports the rainwater into your sewerage system. Now this depends. Are you talking about partially separate or combined? Okay, it depends. But please remember, if you're talking about a dry weather flow, you're talking about only the sanitary sewage moving. If you're talking about the wet weather flow, both sanitary sewage and rainwater is moving. Now it can be in a separate system, okay, or it can be in a combined system, or it can be in a partially separate system. Now this is an image for normal circumstances. But what if there is a torrential downpour, heavy rainfall, extreme rain weather events? Then we have the concept of extreme wet weather flow. Okay, the idea is, when we discuss the concept of design of sewerage system, you need to understand the design is always to handle the worst of the worst circumstances. Okay, no, because please remember, as I told you, population also plays an important role. So when the population increases, the quantum of water consumed, subsequently quantum of wastewater generated also will increase. You always have the understanding that your installations of a sewerage system is for a design period of 15 to 30 years. Okay, so eventually by the time the population touches 30 years or the city grows for 30 years, the system which is in place can handle the greatest and largest flow. Okay, these are the references which has been followed. I would request all of you to also go through these and enhance your knowledge. In the next class, we will be dealing with the design aspects of sewerage system.